Hello, my name is Wendy Myers. Welcome to the Live to 110 podcast. You can find me at live to110.com and learn about my healing and detox program at mineralpower.com. You can also find me on social media, Facebook and Twitter at I will live to 110 and on Pinterest and Instagram at live to 110. Our guest today is Ora Assayag. She is a nutritionist trained at Bastyr University, and she has a fantastic line of skincare products called Ora's Amazing Herbal.com. I absolutely love her products. She sent me some products prior to the show, and I was really blown away. I've used a lot of natural skincare products before, but her products, there's something special. She infuses herbs into the oils and uses lots of essential oils. And I really noticed a change in my skin after I started using them. And I was really impressed with her knowledge level and thought she'd be a fantastic guest on the show. So I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. You know, I love to talk about detoxification and how to detox every single area of your life. And I think a lot of people are living a healthy lifestyle and eating good and exercising and taking supplements, but they're still using extremely toxic skincare products. So I want to educate you today on the show about the do's and don'ts of skincare. Please keep in mind that this program is not intended to diagnose or treat any disease or health condition and is not a substitute for professional medical advice. The Live to 110 podcast is solely informational in nature and for entertainment purposes, so please consult your healthcare practitioner before engaging in any treatment or diet that we suggest today on the show. Our guest, Ora Assayag, has a master's degree in nutrition from Bastyr University, and she's the owner of Ora's Amazing Herbal Skincare. She's also the mother of the most fantastic children that ever existed and seeks to bring health and healing to the world and its inhabitants through her everyday choices. She runs her business and her home with this goal in mind and is getting better at it every day. It's probably one of the more interesting bios that I've read from a guest. Ora, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is so much fun.
Well, I understand your educational background is in biology and nutrition, so how did you end up in skincare?
Well, it was basically my daughter developed eczema, and they wanted to put her on medications, antibiotics, and steroids. And just having the background I already have, I knew that that was not going to be my first course of action. It was more of a last resort. So that's pretty much how it happened. It started with that first product, and then it went from there because I started making salve for her, and it was really effective, but also it was just fun. Like I had a lot of fun making it. So I started making more for like teachers and as gifts and things like that. I was homeschooling all my kids at the time, so I was, able to do crafts and stuff with them. So I started giving it out as gifts, and then when people started asking for more, I was like, I can make more, but at that point, it was time for me to start, my kids were getting older, and I was kind of looking to figure out what I was going to do sort of outside of, my family life also. So it just kind of developed into a business that way, and we've been expanding our line ever since. It's been a lot of fun.
And it's an amazing line. You were so generous. You sent me a package of the products, and I love them so much. I ordered more because I used up all of the nightly skin repair serum. You sent me like a little vial of it. I was like, ooh, because I really felt the difference in my skin, and I love products with herbs and essential oils in them and whatnot, because they really nourish your skin. And I live in California; it's really, really dry, and I really need that deep, deep, deep moisture. And I love the products. I really do.
I'm so glad. Yeah, well, that's the thing about skincare is I find it to be very similar to nutrition because basically your skin is like your digestive tract, but just on the outside. And then also it deals with, the external environment. So, you have dry skin, but then you have also just an opportunity to nourish your skin. Why miss that opportunity by just smearing on something that's not really providing any nutrients? So,
Exactly. Because a lot of moisturizers, that's it. They're just moisturizers. They'll like seal in the moisture in your skin. That's
right,
great.
right.
But I really want something to nourish my skin. I want to put vitamins on it. Essential oils will block sunlight and filter
Right.
toxins. And your
Yeah,
skin needs antioxidants just like your body
absolutely.
does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
I'm a skincare freak, so I know a lot about it. That's why I do a lot of shows on skincare.
I'm
Um,
glad. Fun.
So, why don't you tell us how you developed your natural skincare products?
So basically it started with just the salve, and then we were like, wait, salve and lip balm are basically the same thing. Just lip balm has more thickener. It's basically a salve, but just thicker. So that was our next thing, which was like, okay, well, let's see what kind of fun flavors we can come up with. And we came up with, minty cocoa and chai and, just fun, different things. One of the challenges with lip balm is that we only use essential oils. We don't use any synthetic ingredients. So, we don't use even organic flavors or blends, and we don't use any like formulas that we buy. We only use single ingredients that we can list on our ingredient panel. So, for example, people keep asking for like, mango lip balm and strawberry lip balm, and like, but there's no such thing as strawberry essential oil.
Yeah.
There's strawberry flavor, but like, really, what is that? It's not strawberry. So, there's strawberry seed oil, but that doesn't smell like strawberry. So, just as an example, those are one of the challenges that we encounter is that people they want to use, natural stuff, but they're not really understanding what that means.
Yes.
So a lot of what we do is, just educating people about, the effect of what they put on their skin and what they actually are and their sources and that sort of thing. So then after lip balm, what did we do next? After lip balm, we moved to, powders. Um, Partly because people were starting to ask about natural deodorant, which is a very big challenge, natural deodorant.
Yes.
I mostly use just a powder. And so I just and also people were asking for baby powders because one of our salves, people use a lot on babies. So people were like, well, what about a powder? I was looking at the powders that are out there, and most of them have some kind of ingredient that would feed yeast, like cornstarch or rice powder or any of these starchy grain powders really shouldn't go on skin that's going to be holding moisture, especially on a baby. So it was kind of fun for me to play with ingredients and, find the balance there. And then I made my Blissful Earth powder, it's addictive. It really has a strong following because it just smells so delicious that people are I've had emergency phone calls like, for overnighting it, because especially if that's all you're using as a deodorant, and you don't want to go without it. And I also use it in my son's sneakers. So, and it works. Like we managed to extend the life of his sneakers until he outgrows them,
Yeah.
using that powder. So we have that. We did the powders, and then after the powders, let's see, that came out in the summer. Oh, and then it was the face serums, the serums. One of the things about face lotions that a lot of times people put on lotions, but either they're parabens, they're paraben based, so they absorb very very quickly, but it's you're basically pouring toxins into your skin. That's not ideal. Or they have a lot of like alcohol in them.
Yeah.
So that's why an oil or a serum, a serum really is just an oil, but a lotion that actually is also delivering something else, like a nutrient or whatever. So any kind of botanical oil you're putting on your skin really is a serum, because it's going to have phytonutrients in there, regardless of, I can't think of a botanical oil that doesn't have any nutrients in it unless it's been highly refined. So, anyways, so that's the thing about serums and oils and the difference between them. But so the serums, we came out with the 2 serums. Also, I noticed that as soon as I turned 40, I always thought, oh, age is just a number. It's really nothing to like, it's just a number. But the truth is, literally, it felt like the week I turned 40, all of a sudden my skin changed and it just wanted more. It just, it's very strange, but So I formulated the nightly repair for that, and I found it just really kind of makes my skin a lot happier. The tamanu, especially in there, it's just got such a nice, rich feel, and it just my whole like I really feel more like it just it does the job. It's not gone, it absorbs quickly, but my skin feels good for the day.
Yes,
I don't
yeah,
feel
I
like I
noticed that
really
too.
reapply it that much, right?
Yeah, I noticed
Um,
that too because I live in California and it's so dry
yeah,
that
yeah,
I'd put on a lotion and an hour later my skin feels tight and dry again. I don't
right.
have that with the nightly skin repair or with the day serum as well. But can you talk about that ingredient you just mentioned, the Taramu? What was it?
Tamanu.
Tamana?
Tamanu. It's actually a nut oil from Morocco, which is appropriate because my husband's from Morocco, and which is fun. It's a fun little cultural dip. And it's just very rich, and it helps promote cell regeneration in the skin. So that's why we call it nightly, also because you do most of your healing at night when you're sleeping. So that's why a lot of people like to use it at night because it's a good opportunity. And it provides all those nutrients, but it also, a lot of times when people ask me, well, what's in that does that? I could list, the nutrients that are in there, but the truth is a lot of times, I don't think we've discovered everything that there is to know, about foods and about just ingredients. So the truth is, like, to me, what's more important is the property that it displays. Um, you know, the property of the tamanu, like, yes, it has, polyunsaturated and it has, all the different nutrients, but mainly it's that it promotes cell regeneration, which is what you want on the skin. Um,
What are some
so
of the
that's what
other
cilantro is about. But
okay,
it has very herbaceous smell. So some people are sort of surprised by that. And so I always tell people in advance, you're going to smell it, and it smells amazing. But if you don't know it smell, like, it's not actually a scented oil, it's tamanu.
yeah, I didn't think it really had a strong smell at all.
No,
I'm pretty sensitive to smells, and I
uh-huh.
thought the smell was pretty benign of
I don't
the
mean
nightly
smell like
skin repair.
fragrance, like makes you want to sneeze. I just mean, like, it's um it does. I don't know. I can't think. It doesn't smell just like, safflower oil or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
It has, its own intrinsic. Which I think it's beautiful. I love it.
yeah. And I
So,
like
and
some of the
many people who are scent sensitive who can use it. It's not a like a scent.
no. I have very sensitive skin too, and I don't have any problems with it at all. My
Mhm.
skin feels very comforted and nourished. And so, what are some of the other ingredients in the nightly skin repair? That's my favorite one, which is I keep
So
asking
glad.
about.
Yeah, it's my favorite one also. And I'm actually gonna look down here at my label because I always forget something. But our whole product line, all of our oil-based products start with our base oil. And that's my pride and joy is our base oil because basically when I first developed the salve, I started doing research and I did my nutrition degree at a school of naturopathic medicine. And I didn't study naturopathic medicine. I studied nutrition, but since I was having babies at the same time, I was there for 5 years doing a 2-year program. So my community there was just so tremendous of just herbalists and midwives and naturopaths and acupuncturists. And so when I did have an issue, I always had such a wonderful resource of people I could consult with, very learned, wise healers, that science-based medicine, using herbs, which is many people seem to feel that, or not many people, but some people don't understand that there's a lot of science behind it, and that the experts know that science.
And that's where medicine
So
began, is herbs and
yeah,
plants,
exactly.
not
That's the whole
synthetic
source of,
chemicals.
it's not just, Anyway, so I basically tapped into that community, um, and I developed my base oil based on that. So what we do is we put in calendula, comfrey, plantain, St. John's wort, thyme, burdock, and chickweed. And we infuse that in glass containers for a minimum of 6 weeks in cold, dark conditions. So it's not in plastic leaching, and it's not in heat breaking down. It's protected from light. So all of those herbs, the extraction goes into non-GMO grapeseed oil, and then we take that base and all of our oil-based products are based out of that. So they're all actively healing for a variety of, just inflammation in general, um, and all different angles coming in to help heal your skin and your body through your skin. So our nightly repair starts with that. And then it also has the tamanu that we talked about. It has apricot kernel oil. It has meadow foam oil, which is sort of a newly, you're seeing it more and more, meadow foam oil. It's a nice, light, simple oil, and it absorbs very quickly. So it's a wonderful, just when you're playing with the formula and you're like, okay, that's kind of rich, I need to balance it. Meadow foam's a really nice oil to balance it with. And let's see, what else do I have in here? Oh, rose hip seed oil and pomegranate oil. Pomegranate oil, we know, is just full of antioxidants and all kinds of nutrients. Vitamin C, of course. And then we also have some carrot seed essential oil in there, which is basically, it promotes anti-aging as, because it's high in antioxidants. And also it's, aromatherapists use it for more mature skin, especially for women. Mm-hmm. As a hormone balancer. So I don't know what part of the carrot seed essential oil has that action. Like I said, sometimes it's just, we just know it works. So that's pretty much the nightly repair.
Yeah, I really like it because I bought a lot of natural products, and some of the serums they'll use olive oil as a base, and it's just too thick. I feel like I'm putting salad dressing on my face, and I like that the serum, it's a lot lighter with the herbal blend with the grapeseed oil. It's a lot nicer.
Yeah, it is. And the meadow foam also. We do use a tiny bit of the olive oil in the daily because it does have wonderful nutrients to deliver when you're looking for a lighter serum, but we don't use all that much of it.
Yeah, and so it doesn't make it heavy. It's more of a light serum that just absorbs. Some of the olive oil ones, you just have this grease slick on your face for hours, and that's not what I want either.
Yeah, it doesn't absorb. Yeah. Right. It sits forever, and it smells like a salad.
Yeah.
A delicious salad, but salad no less.
I'm like, I could just make some salad dressing and put it on my face.
Yeah, which I have been known to do when I'm making my salad, and I get some on my hands, so that's okay.
As a natural skincare business owner, what is really most important to you?
What is most important to me? Well, what's most important to me is that my products work. I have guidelines that I am uncompromising on, which, for example, is the purity of my ingredients and that sort of thing, and that they're non-toxic, and that we have transparency, complete transparency with our ingredients, and and we try and be socially and environmentally responsible also as much as we can. But if it doesn't work, there's no point. So that's number one. Really, that's number one. And then also, the truth is production is we need things to be easy to produce, because if it becomes expensive and high energy to produce, that also is an environmental factor. If it requires, 5 hours of high speed mixing in order to get it to come to the right texture, then that's not necessarily going to be a sustainable, product in our line of thinking. So, really the environmental factor for me, if this is what I'm going to do with my life, other than being a mother, this is pretty much what I'm doing right now. It's important to me that it's, at least doing no harm in the world, and, and even more so that it's doing some healing in the world. So, for example, our body butter we're using, I found 100% post-consumer recycled plastic. We needed to use a plastic jar for that, which sometimes it's, an evil you have to kind of go with. But at least we found a jar that's 100% post-consumer. So we feel really good about not pouring plastic back into the waste stream. So that, for example, that's one example. And as much as we can, our packaging is, low impact, and, we try and have people in the community that have difficulty finding employment to do the box stamping and things like that. We try and, contribute to the community with that sort of thing. We just try and feel good about what we're doing.
What are some of the challenges? Yeah. What are some of the challenges you meet when developing products?
Well, making products that work. There've definitely been times where I'll make something and I'll be like, oh, this will, these are great ingredients and this is a great, whatever. And then I try it and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, or I mix up, I'll mix up, some essential oils and I'll just be like, yeah, no, it doesn't smell right, or it's too strong, or it doesn't, whatever, and in theory, like when I'm researching and all the properties come together and it seems like it should be great, but if it doesn't smell good or it doesn't feel good, then, and another one, one challenge we have also is, like, for example, our scrubs. Our scrubs are a dry powder. So, when I was growing up, we were all using that, that cream apricot scrub that came in the tub and you scooped it and you scrubbed it and it was like fantastic, but it's paraben based, and it's chock full of preservatives because it's based in liquid. You can't add water to something and expect it not to go bad unless you preserve it. So that's so all of our products have no water. We don't make any products with water in them because then you have to preserve them. So that even includes like aloe vera gel. When you read a label, it says aloe vera gel. There's water in there. So if they don't list any preservatives, then the preservatives are in the aloe vera gel when they purchase it. There's no way to make aloe vera gel without it going bad. So that's an example of a challenge for us, is finding a base and finding a texture that's going to work without any water and without any preservatives. So for the scrubs, we mix up this powder, but then it's like, if you want to be able to just get in the shower, scrub your face, close it up, and go on your way without it being a high maintenance issue, how do you do that without it going bad? It's going to get wet in the shower. You don't want a tub of stuff and then you have to scoop it into a dish and then prepare before you get in the shower. I don't know. I'm too busy for that. So we finally found a bottle with a flip top lid that you get in the shower, you flip it open, and then I should have grabbed one so I could show, but you just flip it open, you pour a little bit in your wet hand, and then you just kind of do like that and scrub, but it's already closed and away on the shelf or up in, out of the stream of water. But that was actually very hard for us to find. The right packaging for that. There's a lot of powder scrubs out there, but finding it in the right kind of packaging, and just in an easy to use container, it's a surprise. Packaging is actually a surprising challenge.
No, I can imagine. There's some amazing packaging out there, but
there is.
It's very expensive, I'm sure.
It's very expensive,
yeah.
and and we're small, so we're not buying huge containers of packaging, so we're not doing custom made. Like, we would love to have all of our everything be, post 100% recycled everything. And when we get big enough one day that we can actually do that, and custom order our packaging, it'll feel so good to be able to really not contribute at all to the waste stream and even contribute to the solution. That's what we're excited for. But in the meantime, it's a matter of just finding what's available and making it work. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job of it. I feel really good about our packaging.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's really, really nice. I like it. I only like to buy products like the serums in glass bottles.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really important to preserve it and whatnot. But I do understand sometimes you have to put stuff in plastic sometimes. I know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, I feel like there's different factors when you think about the leaching of plastic into oil, because, but one of the factors that I don't see talked about much, basically the more the molecules move around, the more it's going to pick stuff up. So, for example, our serums are in glass. Our body butters are in plastic, but it's a solid. It's once we make it, we don't make it in plastic. We don't cook it in plastic. But once we pour it, it's cold. So that helps that it's not leaching. And then also it's not a liquid that's moving around and the molecules are going around picking up, constantly picking up and leaching and leaching and leaching. So it's not that it's not an issue at all, but it's much more minimal than it would be if it was a liquid. And so that was one of the reasons I was willing to use it.
Well, that's a really good distinction that you made. So let's talk a little bit about toxins in personal care products. Pretty much all the products on the market today, anything you buy in a department store or a grocery store or what have you at a drugstore, has toxins in them. And that's why I do this kind of show. on natural care products because I think it's so important to avoid putting chemicals on our skin and absorbing them into our bodies without any filtration from our digestive system. So the EU in Europe, they have 1,300 chemicals that are banned in personal care products and makeup. And in the United States, there's 8. And so this makes it even more important to be aware of the ingredients on the ingredient list in your personal care products. So can you tell us the top ingredients that we should be looking to avoid when we're reading labels on our beauty and personal care products?
Sure. The way I approach it, it's interesting. I went into the grocery store the other day, the regular local one that I don't normally shop at. I was out of whatever it was. And I walked through the beauty aisle just to see what they had, and first of all, I couldn't breathe in there. I just couldn't breathe walking through that aisle. And second of all, I picked up a couple of things to look at the ingredients, and I make skincare products, and I didn't know what most of those ingredients were. And even as a nutritionist, when I counsel people in nutrition, if you don't know what it is, it's like jumping into a swimming pool without checking if there's water. You wouldn't do that. You look first, and if the water doesn't look good, you don't jump in. So it's the same thing. You read the ingredients, and if you recognize on the ingredients, it's a go. And if you don't, then do some research, look it up. And if it's too scientific of a name to pronounce or research, then chances are you don't want it on your skin, pretty much 100% of the time. So for example, my ingredient label, I always make sure that, we do use scientific names for all the plants, and most people don't know the scientific names for all the plants. So we always put the common names, and that's pretty much standard. But it's just a rule of thumb. If you don't know what it is, don't use it. Yeah, it's simple. Yeah, I don't bother to spend my time learning about what I don't use, because I already know I don't want to use it if it was made in a lab.
Yeah. Yeah, and if it sounds like a chemical, it sounds like a chemical name, guess what? Yeah. It's a chemical.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and I think a big one to look for is parabens. Anything that says butylparaben, propylparaben, isopropylparaben.
Yeah.
Those are preservatives, and they're petroleum-based, they're estrogenic chemicals, and they need to be avoided. Can you talk a little bit about perfumes?
Well, if I see the word fragrance, I put it down. If I see the word flavoring, I put it down. If I see the word proprietary, I put it down. Because why is it proprietary? Why can't you tell me what's in it? Why? Yeah. And why should I put it on my skin or in my body if you can't tell me what's in it? Organic flavor. I don't know what that is. I don't want that on my skin or in my body, which to me, on my skin and in my body are the same thing.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't eat it, pretty much, that's that.
Yeah, the proprietary blends or proprietary fragrance, that's where manufacturers can deceptively hide 100 different chemicals. There can be 100 chemicals in that umbrella, and it's used to protect, the maker from other people copying their product. But, I think it's really just used to disguise chemicals.
Well, that's an interesting point that you bring up. People have said to me, why don't you patent your formulas? And, my formulas, I made my specific formulas, but it's all based on ancient wisdom. I cannot own it. There's no way that I can own calendula, comfrey, plantain, St. John's wort, thyme. If someone else wants to make it, they can, But the reason people buy my stuff from me is because they know who I am. They trust me as a person. They see how I run my business. They see how I communicate. And they don't want to make it themselves because they don't have the time or the equipment or the know-how or whatever it is. That really none of it is rocket science. It's just a matter of, it's just more like a fun thing to do. And we've gotten good at it because we've been doing it for a while. But it's not, I don't feel like it's something that should be secret. I feel like it's, like if you go get a salad at a restaurant and they tell you, oh, we have a proprietary salad dressing. It's like surprise salad dressing, secret, whatever. No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. So let's talk about how we absorb toxins through our skin. Because I've read that when you apply something on your skin, you can absorb it 10 times more than if you eat it. If you, because your digestive tract filters things, your liver filters things, but put it
Okay.
on your skin and you're getting a much more of a greater impact than if you ate a food, for instance.
Right, right. Well, I mean, you have the pores of your skin that are meant to exchange with the environment. And so anything you put on your skin just basically goes right in. And then, you have your fat layer under that, which we know is where toxins are stored in the fat cells. So it's very susceptible to just kind of get stuck there for a while until it gets released directly into your bloodstream. So I mean, that's basically it. I don't really make much of a distinction between my skin and my digestive tract. I don't really consider my digestive tract to be that much of a filter either. The truth
Yeah.
is, you know, I'm maybe I don't know. I think that some of the illness that we're all dealing with, the increase of chronic illness that we're seeing is probably because a lot of people aren't considering the fact that their digestive tract also is a direct entry, into their body.
Yeah.
So, I don't expect my digestive tract to filter stuff either. Yes, I can depend on my liver a little bit and whatever, but I really try not to. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why transdermal medications are on the rise because
Yes.
they more effectively deliver that medication than if a medication is taken orally.
Right.
And you need to think of the same concept with the products that you're putting on your skin, including your makeup. A lot of people don't think about their makeup that they're putting
Right.
on, but they contain a lot of metals and whatnot. But as a mother, how do you go about keeping toxins out of your children's bodies?
Well, that's a very good question. And it can be a challenge. And before I answer it, I want to make a distinction between dirt and toxins. Because I don't keep dirt out of my children's bodies. They go out in the garden and they play and they get dirty and they eat half of it and I don't even know what they're getting into and it's fine. That's part of how their immune systems develop. And so, I don't worry about them getting dirt in their bodies. But toxins I absolutely worry about. Um, and, one of those ways is it's basically just food and, you do the best you can. It's very interesting because, my philosophy is that in my home, I try and feed my children as carefully as I can. But sometimes they go to a friend's house. Sometimes they're at school and there's a birthday party. And I don't want to be the mom who won't let them, you can have a backlash if you're too strict about these things. So I try to mainly educate my children as much as possible and to teach them a certain taste so that what they want is healthier, more nourishing, more vibrant food. So we have one hard and fast rule that we never ever eat, which is any kind of food coloring. That's the one thing that even when they're at a birthday party, even when they're at school, when they're younger, we tell the teachers they're allergic, even though it's not actually a true allergy, but that
Yeah.
them actually take it seriously. Otherwise,
Yes.
and even with that, I've had phone calls like, well, isn't it okay if we just put a little bit of food coloring, in the cake for the birthday party? And I'm like, well, how much, is safe of this chemical that no one's ever really proven to be safe? So anyways, that's our only real hard and fast rule. But, and I started that, when my son was 2. We saw a behavior change in him within minutes of him accidentally eating some food coloring. And we were like, wow, that's really significant. And so right then, and he's 13 now. So for all that time, we've had this rule. And it's really interesting that we've also found that just having that one single rule rules out a lot of other toxins that would otherwise be getting into their diet.
Yes.
So like when you can't have the food coloring, okay, so there's an occasional corn syrup that sneaks in, but they're not eating whatever, all these things that you don't know what the ingredients are. It just rules it out. So, we do as much education as we can, and we do as much just at home, just hoping that what you do in the home extends out into the world. We do a lot of food prep with the kids. We do a lot of, let's make our own granola bars. Let's make our own whatever. And you just we do our best. When they were babies, we didn't do plastic toys because they're putting them all in their mouths, that sort of thing. You do your best.
Yeah.
That's all
Yeah,
you
and
can.
you can't drive yourself too crazy. There's so many toxins on the planet. You're breathing
Yeah,
them in.
yeah.
They're in the water. And so when I first started learning about toxins, I went a little bit overboard and I
Well,
was
we all do.
terrified.
Yes, yes. Well, also, my whole journey through into holistic living started as a teenager. I was sick with Crohn's disease, and I was very, very sick. And I went to all the top doctors in the area, the DC metropolitan area at the time. And I had one look at me when I must have been 17 or 18 by then, and I had been struggling already for some time. I had been in and out of the hospital. And I said to him, I still just don't feel good. Like, okay, I'm not like bleeding internally right now, but I just don't feel good. And he said to me, you might just have to get used to that.
Mm,
And it was like, I don't think that's true. I don't think I'm going to do that, actually.
yeah.
And that is how it all began for me. And so learning about how to nourish my body and how to support my system at every opportunity is pretty much how it all started for me. So with food, food basically it's medicine. It's our fuel. It's our building blocks. So why would we, veer off of that opportunity and do the opposite of loving ourselves? It just doesn't make sense. So I don't even remember why I started talking
Yeah.
about.
Well, yeah, it makes me sad when I hear physicians, because of lack of their own knowledge of natural health,
Right.
discourage people and tell people they have to be on medications for life, or
Right.
that there's nothing that can be done, or there is
Right.
no cure.
Right.
There's,
Right. And I'm not
and
saying it to
people,
be, evil or mean or
no,
disregarding. They
no,
just
they're
don't
not.
know better. And from their experience and from the tools they have, it's like, if you go to a surgeon, they're going to recommend surgery. I mean, that's just kind of what they know. That's the tools they have. So, also just as a mother, I already came into it with that perspective of, holistic, medicine. And so it's kind of all developed over time for me. But like, oh, I remember now why I started because, at first I had to be very extreme because I was healing from chronic, very, very intense illness. I was, very, very, very sick. So I had to be very diligent and very extreme and very careful. And now I've gotten to the point where I can have once in a while, like for a while there, I couldn't eat any tomatoes. For years, I couldn't eat tomatoes. It was something that I knew wasn't good for me. Not that they're intrinsically bad for everyone, but it just didn't work for me to eat tomatoes. And then now, I can eat tomatoes once in a while, and my body's fine with it. If I were to eat tomatoes every day, I would be sick within a month, probably. But, it's a matter of learning how to listen to your body. And I think your skin talks to you also kind of just like your digestive tract does. If you eat something that's not good for your digestive tract or the rest of your body, if you're listening, you'll hear it. If you're not listening, you might not. So it's kind of a choice whether or not to tune in. And I feel like your skin often does the same thing. You could put stuff on your skin that kind of gives it, it doesn't feel dry and itchy anymore, but it needs more. It's asking for more. It's always asking for more nutrients. Like, for example, we were talking about how with the nightly serum, you can put it on once in the day and your skin is happy. You don't need to continue to keep reapplying. And, your skin should be able to basically hold its own. You know what I mean? Like, it needs some help. It needs some protection. It needs some nourishment. But if it's constantly needing the reapplying, it might be talking to you, similar to your digestive tract.
Hmm.
So, I think that, one of the things that we know as people is, one of the things also as a mother that I learned is that the only thing I really have is my intuition. It's the only thing I really have. I can learn, I can research, I can, but like I can go to the doctor and I can say, what do you think? I think she's not, feeling well. And the doctor can say, well, no, I think she's fine. Well, who am I going to trust? The doctor or myself? Like, I'm not saying the doctor doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, we know what we know. And trusting ourselves is just such a huge part of healing. And it's such a tool. for us, and to abandon that is silly. So when we read an ingredient label, we don't know what it is. That's like us asking ourselves to abandon our own responsibility of taking care of ourselves and our own opportunity to take care of ourselves. That's just silly.
Yeah.
So as a mother, I think that's kind of what guides me also.
Yeah, me too. I always listen to my intuition over and above everything. Anything I read in a book, anything when I have to go to the doctor, definitely I'm on like high guard.
Yeah.
But
And when I don't, sometimes I don't, but then I always end up kicking myself for it,
yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly. You
yeah.
always want to go with your intuition because you just kind of always know that little voice in the back of your head is the wisest one.
Yeah. I
So
think
you have a special offer for the listeners, anyone who's
so.
interested in getting your amazing natural products. Can you tell them a little bit
Yeah.
about that?
Well, it's a coupon code on Amazon Prime. It's what did we say? It was 110 Wendy, right?
Yes.
And so it's basically for our entire catalog. You can do a search for just Ora's Amazing Herbal, in the little search bar there, and then just look and see what interests you. We have gift boxes that have a little bit of everything, so you can check things out. Or we have like a little face kit, so you could try the scrub and the serum. But whatever you want to try, you can use coupon code 110 Wendy.
All
And that will give
caps,
you
all capitals.
all caps, and that will give you 20% off anything in the cart. But it's a one-time use, so you can just sort of try whatever you want, and then that's that.
Yeah,
So
and I was so pleased when I got your box of goodies that had all the products. But I was like, yes, and I tried so many of them. I've tried a lot of natural products. I really love your products and
thank you. I'm
know
so
that they
glad.
are really all natural. There's a lot of
Yeah.
natural, so-called natural products out
Yeah.
there that are in fact not. Many of them can be found at Whole Foods and other like
Uh-huh.
natural food stores. But
Yeah.
these are real food. They're
Yeah.
actual, real,
The thing
everything
is,
can be, yeah.
they're natural and they're nutritive.
Yes, yes,
So that's one of the other, an added bonus.
yes. And so, wanting to tell the listeners a little bit more about where they can find you and learn more about your products.
So our website, orasamazingherbal.com, we really are, trying to provide as much information through our website as possible. So we have a little video library on there. If you go to About Ora or About Us, I don't remember now which it is, but you click there and you'll see there's a video library. So we have, just cute little videos about us and about each of our products. And, we're always working on another video. So you can just kind of keep checking on it. And also we do emails every so often. We promise not to flood your inbox, but every so often we send out an email. And that's pretty much, we're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. So whatever's easiest for you, whatever you'd like to, hang out on there. But that's pretty much it on our website and on all of our product pages. We always have our full list of ingredients. We always have, as much description as we can think of. And if you ever have any questions, you can, of course, contact us from the contact page, and we try and respond pretty quickly to every question. And that's pretty much
Okay,
we
great,
are.
great. Well, Aura, thank you so much for coming on the
Thank
show.
you. Thank you so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and listeners, I love to do shows like this. You guys know I love to talk about toxins and how to avoid toxins in your environment. And the personal care products you put into your skin is one of the biggest factors in contributing to your body burden of toxins and to making your body estrogen dominant and having and weight gain as well. You have the more estrogen you have in the body, the more weight gain you'll have. Not to mention toxic metals that are in makeup like nickel and aluminum. So it's very, very important to really assess every component in your life and reevaluate, read labels, and take responsibility for your health. And that's my mission, is to teach everyone out there how to detox their life in every area. So thank you so much for listening. You can learn more about me at live110.com. You can learn more about my healing and detox program at mineralpower.com. Thank you so much for listening today. Bye-bye. Food associations changed or broken?
Well, to break a belief or to break an association, we got to find the root cause of it. We got to find the root cause. So we get to go back in the past a lot of times and asking questions is also huge. So this is basically food consciousness, and to become a conscious individual, you want to ask questions. I often use the example of my nephew. I tell people to ask children, or ask questions like a child. I remember my nephew was like 3, and he's like, "What color is that?" I'm like, "Blue." He's like, "Why?" "That's what they painted it." "Why?" "That's the paint he had in the truck." "Why?" Like, and it's just like so curious, right? But when we get older, Wendy, we stop asking questions, and we just take it for what it is, and that couldn't be. It's just so, it's not beneficial. We got to ask questions. We want to continue to learn, to grow and evolve. And if we stop asking questions, we stop learning, we stop growing, we stop evolving. So we have a food association that's created. And like, for instance, I was talking about the lady who lost or gained 60 pounds in a year. Once we figured out why she was eating the food, and we actually learned the truth of, well, is that actually connecting you with your mother? Is it bringing you closer to her? Well, no. Well, now we can break that. So there's a couple tips and things I can give the listeners now to break food associations. So let's say that you're stressed out and you're a stress eater and you're stressed out, and then you're going through the motions. You're not asking yourself the questions, and you reach for the chocolate. We'll just go the chocolate in the fridge, and you're pulling it up to your mouth and you're about to eat it. Well, you never even thought for a second, and I guarantee you, what am I trying to fill up on? What feeling am I trying to fill up on? Well, I noticed that I'm stressed out right now. Interesting that I would go for the chocolate. Is the chocolate actually going to create less stress in my life? Is the chocolate actually going to give me the feeling that I'm trying to fill up on? And the answer is no, and any sane, conscious individual can realize that. But if we don't ask ourselves these questions, we continue to go through the motions. And it's very interesting because the feeling that we're trying to fill up on is never actually accomplished or given to us by the food. And so it's like God, we're human beings, we're the smartest creatures on the planet, yet we make things so difficult on ourselves. And so let's say that we'll use the example of the children again. So let's say that you know, when things are tough in life, or you're going through a crisis, you turn to food, or you break up with somebody, you turn to food. Well, I would ask a client, when is the very first time that you can remember doing that? Mm-hmm. When is the very first time that you can remember?